Hi. All right. So we'll move to part 4. We are still looking at the overview of the anatomy and physiology of the nervous system. Today we will continue with the diencephalon. But before we move into the diencephalon, let us conclude by saying that the white matter of the cerebrum has a different nerve fiber tract. And those nerve fiber tracts are classified into different types. We have the association tract, we have the commensura tract, and we have the projection tract. We want to say that the association tract connect the different parts of the same cerebral hemisphere. An example is the arcuate fasciculus. The arcuate fasciculus connect the broca's area of the frontal lobe to the Wernicke's area of the temporal lobe of the same cerebral hemisphere. Then we have the commensura tract, which is that tract that connects corresponding areas of the two cerebral hemisphere. An example is the corpus callosum that connects the right cerebral hemisphere to the left cerebral hemisphere. Then we have the projection tract. We say the tract that connects the cerebral cortex with the lower part of the brain and the spinal cord. It connects the cerebral cortex with the lower part of the brain and spinal cord. An example of a projection tract is the internal capsule. We also have the coronal radiata, and we also have the optic radiation. All of them are examples of projection tract. Okay, so let's move to the diencephalon. We agreed when we're looking at the division of the forebrain, we said the forebrain is divided into telencephalon and diencephalon. I want to say that the diencephalon is made up of the thalamus, that is the first division, the hypothalamus, the metathalamus, the epithalamus, and the subthalamus. Okay, so let's take one after the other these division of the diencephalon. We'll start with the thalamus. So I want to say that the thalamus is the largest part of the diencephalon, is the largest part of the diencephalon, and it is paired. So we can see it here, paired. 1, 2, you can see it paired together, and it is oval in shape. That is what you are seeing here, oval in shape. Another book will say it is egg-shaped. So if you don't want to call it oval in shape, we call it is egg-shaped. That is what another book will call it. I want to say they are made up of gray matter and white matter. They are made up of what? Gray matter and white matter. Okay, I want to also see that they are found or situated within the cerebral hemisphere, just below the corpus callosum. Look at it here, they are found just below the callosum. This is the corpus callosum. So they are found just below the corpus callosum. That is the thalamus. That is the thalamus. But we want to say that they are the chief or the main or major relay station of the brain. The thalamus is the major relay station of the brain. Now, what are they? They have structures. Let us just say that the thalamus is composed, or they are made up of nucleus or nuclei, multiple of nuclei. They consist of multiple of nuclei, and those multiples of nuclei are classified based on function into 3. Based on function, these nuclei are classified into 3. We have the relay nuclei. The relay nuclei, they transmit sensory information to the cortex. They will have the association nuclei. They connect different parts of the cortex. And then we have the non-specific nuclei. They are involved in arousal and alertness. These are the functions of the thalamus. In summary, I want to say that the thalamus is responsible for sensory relay. They are responsible for sensory relay. So when visual information comes from the retina, they go through the lateral geniculate nucleus, and then they will go through the thalamus and then to the visual cortex. And also the same thing with the auditory information. When they come from the auditory, they move to the medial geniculate. They move to the medial geniculate nucleus, and then from there they go to the auditory cortex. And the same thing happens with the somatosensory information, like for touch, like for pain, like temperature. They go through the thalamus before they go to the cerebral cortex. So sensory information, they go through the thalamus as a relay station. And then number 2, we have the motor function. We also say that the thalamus is also a relay station for motor signal. So from the cerebellum, they go through the basal ganglia and then to the motor cortex. And they are responsible for coordinating voluntary movement. They regulate consciousness and alertness. The thalamus play a role in regulating sleep, wakefulness, as well as level of consciousness. They do that with the help of the reticular activating system. So they do that with interacting with the reticular activating system. Finally, they are responsible, or they function in emotional and cognitive function. They have emotional and cognitive function. I want to say that the thalamic nuclei, they are involved in processing emotions and memory. They do that with the help of the limbic system. They do that with the help of the limbic system. I want to also say that the next one is the hypothalamus. You have to say the hypothalamus is small, very important structure. The hypothalamus is small, but it is very important structure. It is about the shape of an almond. It is about the shape of an almond. I want to say that they weigh around 7 kg. They weigh around 7 kg. I want to say that they consist of number of nuclei. They consist of number of nuclei. They are situated below and in front of the thalamus. They are situated below and in front of the thalamus. Okay, I want to also say that there are boundaries and location of the hypothalamus. I want to say that it is situated below, as we have agreed, below the thalamus, and superiorly you have the pituitary gland. So superior to the pituitary gland, and then inferior to the thalamus. I want to also say that they form the lower part of the diencephalon. And we say superiorly you have what? You have the thalamus, inferiorly you have the optic chiasm, and then laterally you have the internal capsule. I want to say also that they have specific, what do you call them now? Connections. The hypothalamus has some connections. One of the connections is that the hypothalamus is connected to the pituitary gland, and it is connected via the infundibulum. If I don't want to call it the infundibulum, I call it the pituitary stack. And it also connects with the autonomic nervous system. It connects with the autonomic nervous system. I want to also say it connects with the limbic system through the hippocampus and the amygdala. And it also connects with the thalamus and the cerebral cortex. So those are the connections we have with the hypothalamus. What is the function? The hypothalamus has a lot of function. Number one, it is responsible. It is a hemostasis regulation. It's responsible for hemostasis. It is responsible for hemostasis. It is responsible for hemostasis. And one of the hemostasis is that it maintains body temperature. So it is for thermoregulation. No wonder we call it the body thermostat. It also regulates hunger and taste. It also controls sleep-wake cycle. It also regulates the fluid balance via ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone. It also has an endocrine control. It produces releasing and inhibiting hormones, such as the TROH, which is the thyroid releasing hormone, the corticosteroid releasing hormone, the gonadotropin releasing hormone, the growth hormone releasing hormone, and then the somatostatin. All are hormones produced by the hypothalamus, that control the pituitary gland. They also produce ADH and oxytocin, and then store and release it from the posterior pituitary gland. Want to say also that another function is autonomic nervous system regulation. We say they control the sympathetic and parasympathetic by what? Affecting heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, and respiration. Want to also say that they are responsible for emotion and behavioral response. Now they are involved in emotional expression, sexual behavior, maternal behavior. So they do that in conjunction with the limbic system. Finally, they are also responsible for memory. We have the mammary gland or bodies that contribute to memory processing and recollection. Okay, that is what we want to say about the hypothalamus. So let's move to the metathalamus. We want to say that the metathalamus is located posterior to the thalamus. It has two paired nuclei that serve very important relay station. They serve as important relay station for both hearing and for vision. Remember, we agreed that the medial geniculate nucleus is a relay station. The same thing with the lateral geniculate nucleus. They are all found at the metathalamus, and they are relay station for hearing and for vision. Then we move to the next one, which is the epithalamus. I want to say that they are small dorsal posterior segment of the diencephalon. They are located at the roof of near the roof of the third ventricle. Major structures that we need to pay attention to is the pineal gland. And the pineal gland, remember, they are small pear-shaped endocrine gland that attach to the posterior roof of the third ventricle. And they are connected by what? They are connected to the third ventricle via the habenular commission. And it secretes melatonin. And melatonin helps in sleep-wake cycle. Melatonin helps in sleep-wake cycle. I think that's the major thing we need to talk about in the epithalamus. The other aspect, let's move to the last one, which is the subthalamus. We have to say they are small but functionally significant part of the diencephalon. They are located below the thalamus and above the midbrain. Structures that we can see in the subthalamus is the subthalamic nucleus, the zona insita, the subthalamic fasciculus, and then the field of Fourier. Those are all what we will see in that structure.